As we always say, if you're going to buy any of these sale games, do save yourself a bit of money. Use our discount SwitchUp over at switchup.gg. All the info's in the description. Alright, welcome back to SwitchUp. Glenn and I are together today to tell you all about the best Black Friday sales, covering a little bit more of the US region as I didn't do that on Sunday.
Yep, that's not to say that we're neglecting other regions though. We've got the UK and EU in here too. And as someone who doesn't frequent the Eshop very often, I must say there's some cracking deals on at the minute, aren't there?
Some absolute bangers.
So what's on sale? Well, let's find out.
Let's start off then, Glenn, with one that you won't know much about. It's EA Sports FC 24.
Yeah, 24. Yep, that's the one. So yeah, this has only been out for a couple of months, hasn't it, really? And it's already at 50% off, which is a great deal, to be fair. I mean, FIFA, as it used to be known, has got a lot of stick on the Switch because it was a legacy edition every year for the most part. And now, obviously, they've had the name change. They've lost some of the rights, but in terms of this new game, they've moved to the Frostbite engine. There are some stutters in performance, although I believe there has been a patch since our review.
Oh, nice.
I haven't tried it, but I've heard there's been a patch. And it's actually, you know, it's a very good game. It's nice to see them put the effort in, and for 50% off already, if you're into football, of course, then it's well worth picking up at this time.
Absolutely, yeah. I was lamenting the fact it was so cheap so quickly, but you were saying, obviously, fans of this are going to be picking it up straight away.
Yeah, I mean, if you're someone that buys it day one, chances are you've already got about 6,000 hours out of it anyway. But if you were on the fence, then yeah, now's the time, I would say.
Next up then, we've got the Castlevania collection, which is down to a ludicrous 90% off.
Yeah, this is a crazy price. I mean, there's a few different collections. You've got the Contra collection as well is also the same price. So kind of pick your poison really, but Castlevania is a great series, and this is the old NES, Game Boy and Super Nintendo ones, I believe. There's a couple of others on there as well, obviously, but these are the 8 and 16-bit era games, and they're great games.
Do you know roughly how long you're going to get out of these together?
They're the sort of games that on paper, they're probably about an hour long each. Yeah. But in reality, with how hard they are, it's going to take you 6 times that. Do you know what I mean, per game? So it really depends on your skill set, but you'll definitely get your money's worth, that's for sure.
Then we've got Red Dead Redemption, which is 30% off. This one came out in the last, I can't remember, it feels like it was a couple of months ago, but it's probably a bit longer.
It was about August, I think.
Oh, wow.
I seem to remember it was around that time, yeah.
Time is flying. But it was funny because this one had a lot of stick before it came out about the port and how little they'd done. But actually, it released in a great state. It looked really nice. And I think people kind of played it and went, oh yeah, this looked amazing when it first came out. It actually looks slightly better than it did when it first came out. It looks nice and crisp. You're looking at native resolution. And it's a very good game. I really like Red Dead.
Yeah, and it also includes is it Undead Nightmares?
Yes.
DLC, which was also, you know, almost its own game in and of itself back in the day, and you get both of those together. I think it drops the multiplayer, which upsets some people, so just be aware, obviously, if that's what you were after. But yeah, for 30% off, that's, again, not a bad time to pick it up if you were undecided, shall we say.
Not at all. Glenn is sharp today. You've got the info today. We're just on it.
Yeah, well, you know, it's come naturally.
Well, naturally then, following on from that one, we've got Metroid Prime Remastered. Now, I have to say, sorry, America, this one is only in the EU regions by the looks of it. It's likely it will come to you in the next few weeks. But I played this for the first time on Switch. So I was obviously busting through trying to get a performance review out so people could see how it ran.
Yeah.
And had never played the original before. So for me, it looked amazing. But you will know a lot more, you know, in terms of how it's changed.
Yeah, I mean, so this came out on the GameCube 20 years ago, I guess now, early 2000s. And it's fair to say that despite the moniker of remaster, this is almost closer to remake in some respects in terms of what they've done graphically. A fantastic game, as you said, really well worth playing. What I will say is that this is one of those Nintendo first-party titles that's actually relatively cheap to buy physically.
Okay.
So this sale price kind of brings it down in line with the physical price if you'd rather buy it that way. So just something to be aware of, but yeah, a great game either way.
And it is all on the cart?
It is indeed, yes.
Good stuff, good stuff. Okay, one that's probably my favourite for the week, I have to be honest, and it is the Dungeons and Dragons bundle, Glenn.
This is one I won't have any info on, I must say. Yeah.
So the Dungeons and Dragons bundle is not quite as nerdy as it sounds, although there's nothing wrong with Dungeons and Dragons, I've got to be honest, quite fun.
Yeah, for sure.
So this includes a lot of my favourite games. You've got like Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, you've got Neverwinter Nights, and you have the one that I was saying, Icewind Dale, and what's the other one called? Let me know in the comments what the other one's called. But you've got all of those games. They're massive in and of themselves. Things like Baldur's Gate 2 with Minsk and Boo. They're stupidly long. Great games. Although I don't know if it comes with the expansion. There was the Throne of Baal expansion, which was amazing when I was a kid and I had infinite time.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're someone that's got a bit of time on your hands and you like old school classic RPGs, do check these out. They've got a combat system where you can kind of pause time and do your magics and whatnot and then start it up again. But I think they still hold up, although I think the first Baldur's Gate, because it doesn't have a lot of the quality of life features we're used to now, does feel a bit long in the tooth. But even with that, once you're past all of that and you're just into the core game, it's quality. At the moment, that pack is 75% off. So if for whatever reason you've never played them and you don't own any of those, that is such a bargain.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, great price. Right, next one then. Another one actually that you'll be able to say a lot more about than me. This is The Witcher 3.
Yeah, this one came after The Witcher 2.
Well, there we go, yeah. Pearls of wisdom.
Enough said. Buy it. No. The Witcher 3 on Switch was the, we all know, don't we? It was the impossible port. Now we've had so many impossible ports on Switch. But if you like those big RPGs, I don't know, have you played this one yet?
No, I bought it a while back physically, I mean.
Yeah.
And I just haven't got around to it yet, but I definitely will.
It's one of those that is easy not to get around to because it's so big, it's a massive game. I just like the freedom, just going back and doing performance reviews on it as it's got patched up over the years. You realise how much, doesn't matter in these kind of games, how far you think you've completed it, you can see something that you've never seen before, you know? And it's quite nice to just walk around the world and stuff.
What I will say as well, I don't know if it's still the case because of the patches and whatnot, but at the time of release at least, the whole game was on the cartridge physically. It was a 32 gig cartridge, which is not something that many companies do, so they should be commended for that, but as I said, there may be some downloads needed there because of those patches.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I can't think of hardly any that have done that.
Not for that size of game.
Expensive.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
There you go. Then onto a racer, Need for Speed Hot Pursuit, which I loved, and again, the first time I'd played, no, that's not true actually, I had played it back on, was it PS3 or was it PS4?
PS3, I think. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
But I feel like it seems like a couple of generations ago,
I think so, because I remember getting it and being like, wow, this looks like a photograph.
Yeah.
This looks amazing. But I do always enjoy it when there's like the police and the and the not police. They're not necessarily villains or something.
Yes.
You have those chase segments.
You do,
I do like that.
Yeah, this is a great game. There's this and you have Burnout, one of the Burnout games, I forget which. Apologies, I don't know if that's on sale at the minute, but my point was that they both come out very close together in terms of time, and they're both great games, aren't they? But at this sale price, I think it's down to about £8.
Yeah.
That's just, absolute no-brainer.
Then we've got Skullgirls Second Encore. Now, I've played a little bit of this, but I think you've probably played a bit more than me.
Yeah, I've played this on the PS4, so it came out originally, I think it was about 10 years ago. I think it was a Kickstarter, way back when. And then you had Skullgirls Encore, and obviously now Second Encore. So each one has brought a few new features to the party. One-on-one fighting games. Well, I say one-on-one, they're kind of tag team fighting games. I heard that they were actually modelled after Marvel vs. Capcom in that respect, in having that tag team element to it. Lovely art style, hand-drawn art style. Really quirky cast of characters. I really enjoyed this. This is a good fighting game, and again, for this price, you just can't go wrong. It does have a physical, but it's quite hard to find. I think it was through a limited run company of some description.
Okay.
So you're looking at a fair whack if you want to pick that up. So you might as well go digital, to be honest.
Yeah, can be that way sometimes, can't it?
Yeah.
You fool!
Following on from that then, we've got a couple of absolute classics. First we've got Wolfenstein, which is 85% off, and I think that's the cheapest I've ever seen it.
Yeah, that's a good price, isn't it?
It's just bonkers. I was actually playing there's an expansion for this called like New Blood or something, which I hadn't played. It's nice sometimes going back and playing expansions of games you finished, and kind of then later expansions came out and you never touched.
Yeah.
This one's quite good, yeah. But Wolfenstein, is it the first game or is it the second game?
Wolfenstein II, this is. I don't think the first one's on the Switch, actually.
No, it's not. You're right. And I always get that wrong. And people are like, it's not on the Switch. Yeah, Wolfenstein 2 had a strangely good storyline. You're like really unusual. You're in like a hospital. Have you played this?
No, the only one I've played, I own it on the PS4, but I haven't played it. But the only one I've played, I'm talking like Wolfenstein 3D back on the Atari Jaguar or something like that.
Wow.
Many years ago. So
wow, yeah, you're like in a hospital recovery. I don't want to spoil it, but it flashes back and forwards between that, and then there's a few characters in there that they're just really well done.
Yeah,
like they're a bit hammy, but they're a lot better than most games.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like what's her name? Something like Van, whatever her face is.
I know who you mean. I've seen,
woman.
yeah.
Horrible. She gets her
just desserts.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and it's not schnitzel.
No, or crunchy.
No.
Go for a crunchy right now.
Ooh, yeah.
Nice.
That is underrated.
Underrated, yeah. It gets in your teeth, that's the problem.
It does, but that's honeycomb for you.
Yeah. Double deckers, though. They're my #1 underrated chocolate bar. What, you didn't ask? Oh well.
Welcome back to Snack Up. Finishing up then, we've got Dark Souls, which is 50% off. And this one, I said to Glenn, very, very rarely goes on sale. I mean, they don't really need to. When you've got a name like Dark Souls and you're the only Dark Souls on Switch, you know you're going to sell.
Yeah,
you know you're going to get some sales. But it is still nice to see it drop to half price. For those people, I don't know, that are terrified of it or think it's going to be way harder than... I think that's the thing, when you first played this, you bashed like an hour without dying.
Yeah.
Which is quite comical because most people... I mean, I don't want to blow your trumpet. I want to blow smoke up your ass.
Don't do that.
Most people would die a lot in that time, but actually if you're slow and calculated about it,
that's what it was.
It's all right.
Yeah, it was. I think because I'd heard the legacy behind it, I guess, of how difficult it was, I took it that bit slower than I might have done otherwise. And yeah, I mean, you can definitely make your way through it, even as a newbie to it, you know. But I enjoyed my time with it, actually. I'd quite happily play more of that.
It's a really good game.
Yeah.
I don't know if the physical has it all on the cart. I'm not sure.
I know it's one that is fairly cheap when you can find it, but it's one that's becoming that bit harder to find, you know.
All right. Well, yeah, make sure if you haven't got it or you haven't checked it out, do watch out. We've got kind of a 10 things you need to know about Dark Souls video. You go check that out. So that's 10 games that are stupidly cheap, most of them available in the US regions. There are tons more, as we always say. Please do let us know down in the comments because it helps us out as well, because there's sometimes suggestions that I've never heard of and I can't resist the sound of that jingle bell, man.
I know, yeah, it's pretty compulsive, isn't it?
It really is.
Don't forget, as Mark said at the beginning, if you are looking for Eshop credit, of course, to pick any of these games up, you can use our website, switchup.gg. You get yourself 5% back in cash back off your purchase price, and you get another 5% off if you use the code SwitchUp. And there's a link down there to Play Asia, nothing to do with this sale, of course, but it's down there if you want to import any games. Use the link, use the code, and you get yourself 5% off of your order.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks so much for watching. As always, hit all the buttons, tickle all the things. As we always say, for all things Switch, all the time, keep it Switch up. Cheers, guys. See ya!